Okay, live.
3, 2, 1. That was actually 6, 4, 2. Anyway, okay. 3, 2, 1. Live. Hello, I am Justin Freed. This is episode 145 of the Tech Podcast inThirty. Just as I said that episode number, I felt my soul kind of shift toward the Paul and Heim camp as far as the episode numbers go. 145. We're getting a little long in the tooth for any type of podcast, frankly. Okay, so
You
today
know what it is? You know what
I
it is?
don't.
It's the like the Now CDs.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
they do now 2014 issue 76.
No, now is on now 54.
Okay.
Well, here's the problem with here's my problem with the episode numbers. That okay, it's that they're timely, so we know when approximately they were recorded. How many times we've probably done 3 WWDCs. So if you say WWDC, which one are we talking about? Or the Amazon announcement, which one is it? We're gonna have to be really specific and either put a date or do something.
Well,
So the episode numbers just do
that's what
exactly
links
that.
are for. Welcome to
Yeah.
the internet.
I could as easily say this is the June 12th, 2014 episode of inThirty, right?
I mean, yeah. So it's just one of those. It's one of those. Look, I'm going more and more into the Paul camp of no episode numbers, but I just have that in the back of my mind. How do we know that this is I/O 2014 rumors versus?
Because I've been saying the year for quite some time. I may have even been doing it. But Paul, how impressed were you with Heim's high school teacher skills that he knew the current number, like the issue, the edition of the Now CD?
That's pretty incredible, Hein.
Were you making that up, or did one of your students did one of the students like have it slip out of their backpack or something?
No, I was looking for about a few weeks ago for some sort of like I wanted to know like the top 10 pop songs or something.
Okay.
And so I search on Amazon pop songs and I see Now. So in my Amazon suggested music, because I looked at one
Oh,
song.
Hein, you're not. I just googled it. You're wrong.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, what is it, Paul? What is it really?
I don't know. I've seen that they are at least up to 56.
Oh, okay.
So-
54 is still pretty close. So I thought Heim was going to be off by a lot.
No. It's so that was the highest number I saw. So I could be obviously I was completely wrong.
Okay, I do find it's like the Final Destination movies. They have on their website nowthat'smusic.com. They have the recent nows. Well, now is now. I don't know. Okay, all right. Well, here we go. I'm not even going to try for a segue. Heim, what are we talking about?
Oh,
What?
now 87 is what we're up to.
Wow.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Way to forfeit your cool factor.
Here's a better question. What kids bop are we on?
I don't even know what I don't even know what that is. I don't even.
It's young children singing Katy Perry's songs.
I'm just pleased that Netflix
which
is bringing back Magic School Bus. I don't know if they're remaking it or they're just playing old
I
episodes.
own all the Magic School Buses.
Okay, hi.
Just
For
pointing that out. Okay, so let's not get completely off track. So the next few weeks are going to be a little weird. I'm going to I/O, but not actually in I/O. But it's the week before.
Hi, your use of prepositions is like monstrously misleading because going to I/O means that you are attending the event. Being in I/O means that you're on stage. Hovering around the gate that lets you get into I/O is just that you're around I/O. You're going to be around I/O. Okay?
I'm a loiterer. I'm just loitering at I/O.
Exactly.
Well, no. So Tuesday, the day before I/O, I will in fact probably be on the Mountain View campus, and Wednesday we'll be on the PCH somewhere trying to convince my wife to let me stream live the keynote.
Well, you've got enough data from Verizon. Don't worry about it. Riska's not going to get down on you for that.
But we want to talk about rumors. So next week we can talk about the Amazon phone or whatever they're talking about, and it just leads into we did Apple 2 weeks. Let's get Android. Then we'll get Amazon, and we'll go back to Google. So So I/O is around the corner, and we don't know what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of talk about wearables. There's a lot of talk about Android 5. There's a lot of talk about Silver. And I guess the news that just broke now, just recently, was Google is going to launch basically some sort of Google Fit. Google wants to collect your health data with Google Fit.
So some Google engineer, like while watching the WWDC keynote or something, was like, "Oh, Health Kit. Okay, Google Fit." I mean, what? Or
you do really believe that they saw last week and said, "Okay, now in 2 weeks we got to add this and do all this." This is probably going on for a while now.
I don't know.
It's a necessary play. It's Google's all about their data. This is just like the most logical next step.
I mean, we had every month, if you launch Google Now on the first of every month, it tells you how far you've walked in comparison to last month. So they've already started with some sort of health stuff. Google did have a health service that they sunsetted, just mainly because no one was using it, and mainly because they're using all these other things, Endomondo, Strava, Runkeeper, MyFitnessPal, Fitbit.
Fitbit recently has said that one of the most lucrative elements of the market is actually selling to corporations and giving them packages that let them track employee health and give incentives for employees to walk more, which I guess insurance companies have verified, and I guess just thinking about health in general, it really has returns besides in well-being on the bottom line. So if Google wants to get back into that game, Microsoft has Health Vault, and it sounds like Apple's going to be doing it now too. You think this is going to be a centerpiece of I/O or what?
Well, this just happened. I have a feeling that I/O is going to go the same way as WWDC. It's going to be focused mainly on the developers and less on the consumer products. And Google is known for having flashy things with their consumer products, but it's mainly going to be for developers. And I have a feeling there's a trend. We want to know all our data. And to say that, so by Google giving this health, or whatever we want to call this, Google Fit, and Apple giving all these, it's people are interested in their data, but they don't want to get it. They want somebody else to do the analysis. And I have a feeling this is what it may be. It'll collect all the data, and it will try to give you in some pretty way or some engineering type way how healthy or whatever metric you want. How much can you bench press and graphs and this and that.
So, Hein, you just found your Fitbit Force, where was it hiding in your car, by the way? How it was you were off the Fitbit leaderboard for how long?
We weren't supposed to say that I found it because now I have to throw it out because it's a recalled product. I found my Fitbit Force in my car, so now I'm back on getting my 13,500 steps that hasn't changed for 2 years a day.
Okay, well that is beating me quite handily lately. But what I was thinking is that yeah, I have my automatic, I have my Fitbit, and Google tracks my location. And I was just thinking about too much I live in the Google world while I'm online. And I don't know if, for the first time, I'm thinking, do I want to give Google more data? If Google bought IFTTT and all of a sudden could smartly link up my driving with my walking, with my location, I don't know that I would want them to be able to do that unless they started doing EU sanctioned, privacy controls, that type of thing worldwide, where they could guarantee that it was encrypted just for my eyes only, that I could delete it at any time, all of that type of stuff. I don't know.
Has Google done anything to you specifically that said to you, I'm a little nervous going forward?
It's just the totality of it. This is without even holding it against Google itself. It is just the nature of it, and it feels more and more outside of my control.
So I mean, what it sounds like, and I'm hearing people say this, iOS 8 or the Apple ecosystem, they're going for more of, they're not aggregating your data, but only to you. So Apple can't even sell this data for anybody or do anything with it other than show it to you. Whereas Google and Facebook can, and I don't know which is better.
It's that Apple is less intrusive, and they're not also doing my web searches and my email, so it just seems separate from it. And they also their chief kind of culture, the chief cultural tenets of Apple are not about data first. It is about design first. So it speaks to how they'll use what the type of decisions they'll make corporate wise. Paul, where do you come down on this? And do you think that
Google terrifies me.
as we use Hangouts to do our technology podcast?
I'm totally invested in their ecosystem. I use it every day in various capacities, but they scare me deep down. They have a foothold on way too much, and they love data and they love using it for profit.
So
the question is,
if Maps, I'm not advocating another Ma Bell type thing, but if Google Maps were its own corporation and Gmail were its own corporation, it would feel better. But it's just they've certainly proven that algorithmically you can take over the world, but there should be some separateness or more control given to the user. I think that if they're going to talk about health again, and they're going to do that, they better, at least to avoid the PR backlash, because it just seems like the type of thing that...
They give tons of control to the user, and that's sort of been their way of avoiding a bad rap with this stuff. It's Google Takeout. You can access all your data. It's all for the user and for Google.
I guess if I felt that my area of their cloud were a little bit carved out, and I know it's the nature of the beast is that they want to aggregate it and they want to sell me ads, but and I can go to Google Takeout, which is cool to get to, so I can move my data, but to even if I pull the switch and delete it, or to make sure that it was encrypted on their end so that their engineers couldn't peer into it. I'm sure
but it is. That's the thing. Google has stated, and you look at all the EFF things that's going on. Google and surprisingly Facebook. Let's give some credit where credit is due. Google and Facebook are advocating for, we don't want to be served with these national security letters. We want to say what data is being used. And yeah, they use it. But it's always nice. If you haven't experienced Google Now, you have no idea how great Google Now can
Google Now, that's what I call music number 84. Yes.
Well, like you turn it, you swipe to the left. It's like my daily habit. I swipe to the left, see what's going on in my day. I can see news based on what I'm looking for. I can see everything. Look, it's great.
No doubt that Google does a lot with the data for the user. It's just they're I don't think that's their main agenda.
No, that's fine. Look, we all know they're trying to sell you as a demographic to get whatever it is, and the more data you get them, obviously the better it is. And look, we've all said if you don't like it, if Google starts terrifying you, they make it easy to get out and move. You can delete everything, part of your Google profile, and move on.
You have to read The Circle.
I have to? Okay. Summer's starting soon, so I will do that.
All right.
At this point, I guess if I had to pay $150 a year so that Google, not even to get rid of the ads, but so that it just felt more mine. I guess I don't know. I'm just for the first time kind of having like little pangs of 1984 type worry about it. But Google Now is for the first time giving me relevant information without my having to have put in tons of info. So I don't really give Google tons of credit for going through my email and finding calendar appointments when a human being typed out to me, let's meet at this time at this place. But the fact that it's figured out that I'm looking for a car, and it's giving me car news now that I wouldn't have found otherwise, and that's inferring it from my web searches. So I don't know. It's impressed me. But what the point here is that I/O are they going to double down on that? I guess that's what this is. And this is somewhere where Apple cannot compete with them. I don't think for years to infer from the data give you contextually aware information.
Google, I think, is doubling down on the services they are doing really well at. Maps. They just bought a mapping company.
The satellite. The satellite company. So they can they can show you like live video of the top of your head as you're walking down.
Well, look, that's a big deal. They know that they have cornered maps. They know that if you look at most power users' iPhones, they have all the Google apps, Gmail and Maps and everything else. So they know that. So their job is, we don't care what device you buy. Buy whatever you want as long as you're using our services. But the next thing that Google has to address, and they've done it 3 years now in a row really good, is Play services. They've moved everything into Play services because they're tired of telling the manufacturers you have to update your phones.
So what you're saying is that the Android updates are now going to be a function of the Google Play Store? I don't see exactly what you're getting.
Yes, exactly. So all the cool things that if you want the Zoe app from HTC, that's an app. You could just download that in the Play Store. But basically what they're doing is you need Ice Cream Sandwich, which is Android 4.0, and at this point it's 4.0 and higher is like 80% of the market. Everything goes through Google Play services. So if your manufacturer doesn't update, you're not missing out on the security elements. You're not missing out on a whole bunch of different things, and you will get those APIs that the operating systems don't give you, which means that the operating system becomes less and less important.
Okay, so it also is becoming...
Why did they do this to begin with?
Because they
that
thought
seems
that...
great to me.
Well, no, but it's happened now since Ice Cream Sandwich, because they tried. They said we're going to offer updates for 18 months. That was in 2011 or 2011. Nothing happened. 2012, we're going to give the OS 6 weeks ahead of time to try and get it. That really didn't do it. Only recently, once Jelly Bean is launched, you've seen Samsung S3 is getting KitKat. HTC has said we promise updates for 18 months.
HIJK. That's 4.4. Okay.
Well, KitKat, and then we're thinking I thought it was licorice. Now I'm hearing lollipop. I don't know. Whatever the next version of Android is going to be built around Play services. And maybe it's a focused on design. If you look at
switch to vegetables, Paul. That's a good idea. Michelle Obama and her Move campaign. Support that. Lima bean.
They're focusing on design. I will tell you that, because if you look at the I/O schedule,
let's go back for a second too, because we can talk a lot about design through quantum paper. But what you're saying about Google Play services is that they've kind of siloed out an area of the operating system, just because Android allows you to do this, that they're focusing on it, giving all users the updates in that method to circumvent the fact that the manufacturers of the hardware device have control over the initial install of Android.
Correct.
Okay, so they know that the hardware manufacturers are going to put Google Play on there, or they have incentives to put Google Play on there, and now they're kind of going to backdoor the updates in. I mean, that does sound good.
I mean, so when Tim Cook said Android hasn't been updated, that's disingenuously true. It hasn't, but the Play services has brought the APIs that people can use. So if you're on Ice Cream, if you don't have Jelly Bean, you're not getting Google Now. But KitKat, all KitKat did was allow devices to run on lower spec hardware. So it wasn't this huge thing, and it enabled Bluetooth Low Energy. It enables more hardware sensors rather than software.
Okay, so they have a volley to throw back at Cupertino's ship regarding WWDC. They can respond to that, and I'm sure they will. I'll be honest, I picked up my brother's Nexus 7, and I just was like fiddling around with it again. And I don't know if this is like a patents issue, but I tried to. I mean, this is impossible, but I was trying to get into it, and the fact that Android still can't bounce to show when you're done scrolling, and it does that like weird like highlight thing where it gets brighter, and then when you're going left to right, where it instead of bouncing again or like going off the screen, it like tilts a little bit in the UI, and then again with the double tap to zoom thing and all that, it still feels clunky to me. I mean, and he had just updated it. I don't know. Are they ever going to be able to overcome those things? Are those patent issues? I mean, they're just...
Yeah. Well, okay. How about this? SwiftKey yesterday, in order to celebrate some anniversary, gave their keyboard away for free. If you don't know what SwiftKey is, it enables swipe, where you can swipe on the letters. You can resize the keyboard. You can add number rows. You can cut it in half. You can make it thumb enabled. Okay, this is something I've had for years. So if you're willing to give up a little bit of design elements, like a bounce back, a smoother bounce back, or whatever it is, you can open up the world of functionality to make your life easier. And this is a big argument that people are having. People want the beautiful apps. They want the intuitiveness, but as soon as you come across a problem that can be solved with a little thought, now you have a decision to make.
All right. Well, okay. So this is they have some explaining to do Android-wise. I will say one last thing. It seems like Android is becoming less and less Google's alone, which I think is probably better for the operating system as a whole. And in principle, it's better. But it seems more like it's like Linux, and there are some great Linux distros. But again, there's still a far cry from opening up a MacBook Pro that has OS 10 pre-installed on it. Okay, so you want to talk about design now, Haim?
Yeah, well, just simply that their the big hubbub is they have a lot of how to design better UI courses. A lot of their sessions are UI based. So I have a feeling that something big is going to be in the UI space.
Okay, so I think that was Quantum Paper the thing that was rumored or announced? That's for the web apps only, or is that something that which is a framework for developing apps? I don't know if Google's using it internally or whatnot, but is this a competitor to Swift in some way? I mean, I'm probably
well, I don't know much about it, but I don't know much about it. But again, this can be implemented just by updating Google Play services, and you can get this functionality, whatever it is, through the Play services, rather than hoping that Samsung updates your software.
Okay, so that's what you're anticipating at I/O. They're going to sell that to the developers and demand better looking apps from them.
They're going to try. They have their own design guidelines. They're trying to get people to get rid of menu screens and ellipses. They want everything to be the same way across, and I have a feeling that they're going to update all their apps to have this unified thing, which is a problem for most people because now they have to learn a new UI element.
But it's worth it. So Paul, as you're hearing Haim's hopes for Android and what they're going to do at the developer sessions at I/O, what do you think? Is this a long time coming? Is it admitting a fault from of Android up until now, or what?
I mean, I'm.
The question is, you went to an iPhone. Why did you go to a 5S? You had the choice of a Note 3. You had some pretty good choices. You had the Moto X, which you could design to be whatever you want, and you chose a 5S.
That's
my reason was stupid. I had
the fingerprint.
I had corporate email that required a lock on my phone, and I wanted the thumbprint reader.
I don't think that's
it had
stupid
nothing to
at
do
all.
with the operating system. I probably would have moved to an Android device if not for that.
Well, that's a good reason. The iPhone had something that Android did not have at the time, and therefore you had to go there. And I had that issue because I want a better way. I want to encrypt my phone, but not have to put in a passcode. I would like my pattern lock.
So, let's just where are we on time?
Well, we have 6 minutes.
All right, I just want to throw this in here about Apple. I can't help myself. So at WWDC, iOS 8, of course, is supposed to allow Touch ID to be used on a per-app basis, and then within apps for certain functionality. Now, that's the type of thing where when you look, I mean, I don't know the technology behind it at all, but it sure as heck seems like that could have been rolled out at the get-go. That that the internal API that was used for Touch ID, they could have extended that to developers at the time, and it just speaks to the fact that Apple goes at its own pace and is not trying to is caters to developers second and to developers first.
No, I think what's going on is that you're not wrong, but I have a feeling Apple wanted to make sure it worked first. So before they opened it up, Apple, for whatever reason, does a fantastic job with security. And if you talk to anybody, their security on the iPhone is top-notch. So they didn't want Touch ID just to get out there and have some lazy developer basically put a backdoor in that someone could exploit.
But
They
again,
wanted a year to try it and then find a way to secure it and go from there.
okay, it just seems to me that it works really well. First of all, at a hardware level, and unless I don't know for a fact that it works really well, because it's possible that it seems to work so well for me but any stranger could pick up my phone and open it. I don't think that's the case, but it always knows it's me. I mean, it's really, really good. It never gets in the way. But it seems like it's like a binary thing. It's the only thing that even Apple's own apps can really see is, does the secure enclave say it's the right person or not? It's a yes or no, and go from there. Anyway, let's get back to Google.
I mean, I can see Google. This is not a hard. So let's go into the hardware. The rumor is Google's going to kill the Nexus line, and this is a rumor that's been circulating for a couple of years. And they're going to bring back something. They're going to bring something called Android Silver, which what it sounds like is that the manufacturers are going to put a phone or a device in the Google Play Store that is pure Android with a guarantee that they will leave it as stock as they could, unless it has some sort of hardware gimmick, like HTC has their not RFID, RF controller, or Samsung has their fingerprint. Will modify it for their phone, but it will be as stock as humanly possible and updated, and it will be updated immediately.
So what are you saying here? They're gonna do silver, and they're gonna again try to incentivize manufacturers to make clean Android devices.
So right now we have an S5 in the store. We have a Sony device. We have the HTC One in the store. So I think instead of calling it instead of my Nexus 5 being an LG Nexus 5, it's just going to be LG Android Silver, Google Play Edition, or whatever it is. And it's designed to say you're going to give the pure Google experience, you're going to sell it on the store, and you're going to have a rabid developer base that wants this, so give them the option.
Okay.
It's one of those things that for people who care, it's a good choice.
Is Chromecast going to be updated? Now was that announced at I/O last year, or where? I don't remember.
It was announced at I/O last year, and I bought it as soon as. No, it was announced in August. It was not announced at I/O. It was announced with Sundar Pichai in the morning. It was the one more thing. I have a feeling that there are rumors about an Android TV, and we've heard this now again for years. It's going to be, but I have a feeling they may bring a set-top box, but I am not confident about that.
Look, an updated Chromecast is for all intents and purposes. I mean, just because it doesn't set on the top of something, it's on a box. It is Android TV, unless I'm missing something. The only thing
it doesn't search. It just casts things. What Google wants is it wants to be able to listen to your TV, which Google now does now, and recommend shows based on what you're searching for and stuff like that. So they want to revive Android TV, but that means they need the content deals, which I don't think they're going to get.
Wait, Google now does a Get Glue type of thing, or like a Shazam type of thing?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So if you search for a topic, like if you're searching for who's in the NHL Finals, it'll pop up. Right now, the NHL Finals are playing, and if you have a Samsung TV or a special manufacturer TV, it will do something else that I don't have. It'll bring the second screen to you with the actors and information.
I wonder if it's ever going to make a mistake and say, someone on the train you were taking to get home last night was talking about Game of Thrones, and you turned your head toward them.
No. What would happen is you search for 18 and counting, whatever that show is, where the lady has like 20 kids, as a guilty pleasure, and then every day for the next season you get, oh, by the way, the rerun is on, and you can never get rid of it.
I see. Okay, so the I/O then, in summation, we're going to at the top of the show.
Wrap up.
What were you saying? What are we going to get? We're going to get cleaner Android. I mean, it sounds like last year, a cleaner, better Android, hardware options that have kind of been vetted by Google. And a push into health and home automation, probably via the Nest purchase. It seems like it all fits together. And I bet you there's going to be a surprise. I think there's going to be a hardware surprise. I'm not saying it's going to be the Nexus U to replace the Nexus Q, but it'll be something a little wacky and weird.
Nexus 8 tablet.
Throw a wearable in there, and we'll see what happens, right?
An Android watch, yeah. So we'll see.
All right. So this has been episode 145 of the Tech Podcast in 30. Thank you for listening. Good night.
Bye, everybody.